Alrighty, we all awake? We're rounding it out. We'll make it through Friday night. Let's go. This afternoon has been filled with amazing speakers. We still have amazing speakers. That's one of the things that makes ETHDenver one of the premier Ethereum events anywhere in the world. Coming up next, long-term ecosystem OG, Jill Gunter. She's going to talk to us about infinite gardens having no walls. Round of applause, please.
All right, yeah, Friday night, let's go. My name is Jill Gunter. I work for a company called Espresso Systems, but I work on Ethereum. And this evening, I want to talk about walled gardens and the incredible alternative that we have built with Ethereum and how we preserve it. A walled garden is a closed ecosystem controlled by a single entity, imposing restrictions on who can contribute, what can get built, and who can access it. So I'm wondering, who here has experienced the friction of opening a bank account in another country? Anyone? Yep. Who here has tried to get an app listed in the Apple App Store? Any Web 2 developers, or indeed in Web 3 now too? Yeah. Who here has gone through the process of opening relationships with Wall Street banks? Maybe some fund managers in the audience. Yep. Who here has lived in or traveled to a nation that has capital controls in place? Yeah. And who here has maybe emigrated from their home country and had to take their wealth and their assets with them? We've all experienced walled gardens. But as we know, there is a better way, and that's what we're building with Ethereum. An ecosystem where anyone can contribute, anything can be built, and everyone has access. And I truly believe that Ethereum is the best tool for innovation that humanity has because it is permissionless, it is composable, it is unstoppable. These are the qualities that make Ethereum different from the walled gardens of corporate finance and corporate technology. These are the superpowers that apps on Ethereum get. So Ethereum is permissionless. Again, anyone can contribute, anyone can build, anyone can access it. And because Ethereum is permissionless, that has allowed nations to run fundraisers, raising $225 million instantly with global access. It's also allowed us to support funding for people whose own states are attacking them. Ethereum is composable. It's a composable environment. It's an open ecosystem where anything can get built and everything is compatible. And we get innovations like Anoncaster and BountyBot, and indeed the intersection of the two, an anonymous bounty on a decentralized social media platform. Innovation that can't happen elsewhere. And we get decentralized stable coins that can be backed by any on-chain asset. Ethereum is unstoppable. The platform and the apps that call it home cannot be shut down. And through that, it's given us verifiable, anonymous referendums on autocrats and on currencies. And what is it that underpins all of these superpowers? It's decentralization. This is the beating heart of what makes Ethereum a worthwhile project. It's decentralization that keeps Ethereum composable, permissionless, and unstoppable, but it's extremely hard to preserve. It demands trade-offs. In terms of user experience, it demands that the technology is more complex, but those are sacrifices that we're willing to make to build in and on Ethereum. Now, in the last few years, it's been easy to think that maybe we don't need a protocol to be as strong as we've built Ethereum to be. We've seen market share and mind share go to weaker protocols, to our meme coin loving brethren over on the other chains. And until last week, there hadn't been a major hack in the last 2 years. And so it was easy for everyone to become complacent. But this is my call for us to double down on building a strong set of protocols in the Ethereum ecosystem. Because everyday trust assumptions are invisible until something goes wrong. Said another way, hard times create strong protocols create good times. You are here, good times create weak protocols, and weak protocols create hard times. But I want to emphasize there are so many incredible teams in the Ethereum ecosystem fighting to keep Ethereum competitive and a strong protocol, to keep it adhering to its values. Flashbots working on builder decentralization, OP working on interop, the open intents framework spearheaded by the EF, but bringing together competitors across the ecosystem to build to keep Ethereum composable. And then, of course, the core devs and the EF working to scale DA and keep Ethereum secure. Because we all know this. Without a strong protocol, what are we doing here? Why build on chain at all? We need to keep this magnifying glass on the Ethereum ecosystem and infrastructure and ensure that we're not recreating the permissioned, closed, and centrally controlled ecosystems that we know in traditional finance and the tech conglomerates. We need to ensure that all the chains on Ethereum can scale and can work together like one unified chain, and we need to build with censorship resistance in mind. And so with that, I'd like to introduce briefly a concern in all of this that I care about particularly deeply. In the spirit of doubling down on a secure, strong Ethereum, we need to talk about sequencers. Almost every single L2 that is live today runs a centralized sequencer. This is the component of the software that orders transactions and posts it to Ethereum for settlement. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean for the user if you're using a centralized sequencer on your favorite L2? Well, if the centralized sequencer goes down or tries to censor you, I've got good news for you. For 6 out of the top 10 L2s by TVL, they have working escape hatches, which means that you can't be censored for very long. Whether it's after 7 days or after a half-hour approving period, you will get your funds back. But, and I want us to be vigilant about this, for 4 out of the top 10, that's not the case. Their centralized sequencers can still censor you. And they're working towards improvements. I know that. But this compromises today the permissionless quality that Ethereum espouses. Now, as long as you do have this thing, this working escape hatch, maybe there's nothing wrong with using a centralized sequencer, except for the fact that we rely on it for cross-chain composability. And composability is one of those core values that we care about, right? It's a big part of why apps choose to build on Ethereum, and we can't live with a fragmented Ethereum. We will lose. And so this brings us to centralized pre-confirmations. Sequencers, again, provide a key component of interoperability and composability because they provide these centralized pre-confirmations. So who here has ever used an L2? Great, yep, most people. And who here has ever used a bridging protocol like a cross or hyperlane, layer 0? Excellent, yeah, most people here. Well, congratulations, you've also used a centralized pre-confirmation. Because you see, almost every interop protocol today depends on the word of the sequencer in order to bridge funds. Bridges rely on these pre-confirmations because they come fast, and that's what users want and need. And bridges can't wait 15 minutes for the Ethereum L1 to finalize. And so if we're in a world with many L2s and many transactions happening across them, and if all of those transactions rely on centralized pre-confirmations, a new threat has emerged. That one of these chain sequencers will be compromised, maybe by a party like Lazarus, or maybe it will be controlled by a malicious actor to begin with. And this creates a vulnerability that can result in loss of user funds, hacks, inconsistent states across rollups. This is what it looks like. Now, centralized infrastructure gets hacked all the time, make no mistake. It's not always on the core protocol of Ethereum. It was not in the case of Bybit, but that's why we have to be vigilant about the whole stack. Again, from the front end, to the DA layers, to the L2s, to the core protocol itself. Because hacks occur when there is money to be made, and centralized L2 sequencers are no different. So this is my call to double down on a strong Ethereum, double down on the Infinite Garden to secure your app, your stack, your sequencer, and this is what we're spending all day on at Espresso. We've introduced a confirmation layer that sequencers post to, and that confirmation layer backs the sequencer's word with BFT finality and economic security, making it reliable, and it does all of this in a few seconds. It's designed differently from Ethereum. It's designed to complement Ethereum. It's designed to be secure enough for anyone to trust and fast enough for everyone to use. It's designed for cross-chain composability, whereas Ethereum, as it should be, is designed to survive World War III. Espresso is live today. We've been live with a permissioned mainnet running since November. We currently have an Arbitrum Nitro integration that is ready to go for any developers looking to use it, and we'll be rolling out an OP stack integration in the next couple of months. And the Espresso Foundation will be facilitating an upgrade to proof of stake starting on testnet in April and mainnet shortly thereafter. A confirmation layer is key to composability. Shared sequencers help keep Ethereum unstoppable. And I want us to think about this because last week when 1.5 billion in ETH was lost out of a centralized exchange, the first thing people said was that we should hard fork the chain. Ethereum's very integrity is at stake when we let cracks enter into our security. And so we need to stay motivated and we need to keep our eyes on the security of every part of our infrastructure. We must defend Ethereum as the home to permissionless, composable, and unstoppable applications. If you'd like to learn more about Espresso, please check out our docs. And you can always find me, as many of you know, on Twitter. Thank you.